Commander Jake Morrison walked down the cold metal hallway of the detention center. His boots made loud sounds on the floor. He had made this walk every day for 3 months. Every day he hoped today would be different. Every day he was wrong. The alien sat in the same spot as always. The creature looked like a giant insect with 6 eyes and 4 arms. Its skin was purple and rough like tree bark. The humans called it Kethvar, because that was the name it said when they first caught it. It was the only thing the alien had. Said since the war ended, Jake stopped in front of the clear wall that kept the alien inside. Captain Lisa Martinez was already there with her equipment. She was the best at talking to aliens. She knew 12 different alien languages. But this one would not talk at all. "Any luck today?" Jake asked her. Lisa shook her head. "Nothing. It just sits there and stares at the wall. I tried everything. Music, pictures, even showing it food from its home planet. The translator works? Fine. It just does not want to talk." Dr. Paul Carter stood behind them writing notes. He was the doctor who studied minds, thought the alien was sick in its head because of the war. The aliens called Zephyrians were proud fighters. They had beaten 12 other worlds before they met humans. Losing to humans had broken something inside them. "Maybe it is scared," Paul said. "Its people ruled the stars for 100 years. Then humans beat them in 6 months. That would make anyone afraid." Jake looked at the alien again. Kethvar sat very still. Its 6 eyes looked at nothing. Its 4 arms hung at its sides. It breathed slowly like it was sleeping. But its eyes were open. The Zephyrians had been strong. Their ships were bigger than human ships. Their weapons were stronger. Their soldiers were trained from birth to fight. They had never lost a war. Then they met humans, and everything changed. Jake remembered the first battle. The aliens came to the Kepler system with 200 ships. They moved in perfect lines like they were dancing. Their formation was beautiful and deadly. Human commanders watched from far away and smiled. The aliens fought exactly like the books said they would. Human ships scattered when the aliens attacked. The Zephyrians thought the humans were running away. They chased the human ships deeper into the system. That was their first mistake. Human ships were not running. They were leading the aliens into a trap. When the alien fleet reached the inner planets, human ships appeared from everywhere. It hidden behind moons and inside asteroid fields. It came from above and below and from all sides. The alien formation broke apart in minutes. The Zephyrians tried to regroup, but human tactics made no sense to them. Human ships would attack and then disappear. They would show up where no ships should be. They used tricks the aliens had never seen before. In 3 hours, the Zephyrians lost half their fleet. The survivors ran back to their space. They had never run from a battle before. They did not know how to deal with defeat. More battles followed. Each time the Zephyrians tried new ways to fight humans. Each time humans did something the aliens could not understand. Human commanders seemed to know what the aliens would do before the aliens knew it themselves. Lieutenant Amy Foster entered the room carrying a stack of papers. She was young and new to the job. She helped Lisa with the alien studies. "Look tired and worried? Any changes?" Amy asked. "Same as always," Lisa said. "It will not even look at us today." Amy walked closer to the cell to put her papers on the table. Papers were heavy and she was not careful. The stack fell and scattered across the floor. Combat manuals and battle reports spread everywhere. Amy got down on her knees to pick up the papers. She was embarrassed and moved quickly. She did not notice that the alien had turned its head to look at her. Kethvar stared at the papers on the floor, 6 eyes focused on the diagrams and maps. The alien had not moved for hours, but now it leaned forward. Its breathing got faster. Lisa saw the change first. "Jake, look," she whispered. The alien stood up slowly. It walked to the wall and pressed its face against it. All 6 eyes looked at the combat manual in Amy's hands. The alien's mouth opened and closed like it wanted to say something. Amy noticed everyone staring at her. She looked down at the paper in her hand, showed human battle formations and attack patterns. She held it up so the alien could see it. "Better." Kethvar's eyes grew wide. Its body started to shake. It made sounds that the translator could not understand. Then it spoke its first words in 3 months. "You fight like the ancient demons of our homeworld. How is this possible?" The words hit everyone like a punch. Jake grabbed his radio and called General Roy Hudson. Lisa started recording everything. Paul wrote notes as fast as he could. Amy just stood there holding the paper. The alien pressed all 4 hands against the wall. "These patterns, these movements, they are from the old stories, the demons that could not be killed. The spirits that attacked from shadow and fog. How do you know the demon ways?" Jake stepped closer to the wall. "We are not demons. We are just humans. We fight the way that works." Kethvar looked at Jake with all 6 eyes. "Your people should not know these things. The demon wars happened before our people left our home planet. Before we learned to travel between stars. These tactics are older than our civilization." Lisa held her recorder closer. "Tell us about these demon wars." The alien was quiet for a long time, then it spoke again. "On our world, long ago, there were creatures that fought without honor. They used tricks and lies. They appeared and disappeared like smoke. Our ancestors called them demons because no normal creature could fight that way." Paul leaned forward. "What happened to these demons?" "We thought we killed them all. We thought we learned to fight better than they could. We built our armies to stop demon tactics. We made rules for war that demons could not break. We became the greatest fighters in the galaxy." Kethvar looked at the combat manual again. "But you humans fight exactly like the demons. Every trick, every movement, every way of thinking. You are what we trained our armies to destroy. But you are real, and you are stronger than the demons ever were." Jake felt a chill run down his back. The Zephyrians had built their entire military to fight creatures like humans. They had trained for thousands of years to stop human tactics, and they still lost. General Hudson's voice came over the radio. "Morrison, keep that alien talking. I'm coming down there right now." The alien heard the radio and tilted its head. "Your leaders come quickly when truth is spoken. They understand the danger. Good. Perhaps your people can survive what is coming." "What is coming?" Jake asked. But Kethvar turned away from the wall and sat down again. It would not say another word. General Roy Hudson arrived 2 hours later with Dr. Susan Blake. She was the best military historian in the human fleet. She knew more about wars than anyone alive. Her job was to record exactly what the aliens said about the battles. Kethvar sat in the same position as before, but now its eyes followed the humans as they moved around the room. It was watching them like they were dangerous animals. "I want to know everything," General Hudson told Dr. Blake. "Every detail about how this alien sees our fighting methods. This information could save human lives." Susan nodded and set up her recording equipment. She had studied the war reports many times. Hearing about the battles from the alien side would be completely different. Jake stood next to the wall. "Again, Kethvar, this is Dr. Blake. She wants to learn about the war from your view. Will you tell us what happened?" The alien looked at Susan for a long time. Its 6 eyes moved up and down as it studied her. Then it spoke slowly. "Your species does not fight," Kethvar said. The words came out strange, like the translator was having trouble. "You do something else? Something that has no name in our language." Susan leaned forward. "What do you mean?" "Fought many battles against your people," the alien said, shaking its head. "Fighting has rules. Fighting has honor. Fighting has meaning. What you do is different. You orchestrate chaos." The alien stood up and walked to the wall, pressed one hand against the surface and stared at Susan. "Tell me about the first battle," Susan said. "At Kepler system." Kethvar's eyes grew dark. "We came to Kepler with our grand fleet. 200 ships in perfect formation. Our Admiral Dexmore led us. He had won 30 battles and never lost a single ship." The alien paused and made a sound like sighing. "We expected your fleet to meet us in open space, ship against ship, honor against honor. This is how wars are fought. This is how civilized beings settle disputes." Susan wrote notes quickly, "But that is not what happened. Your vessels scattered like frightened children when they saw us coming. They ran in all directions with no formation, no order, no discipline. Admiral Vexmore laughed. He said humans were cowards who could not stand and fight. Jake remembered Admiral Greg Collins talking about that battle. Collins had smiled when he heard the Zephyrians thought humans were running away. The human fleet had practiced that exact movement for months. "So you chased our ships," Susan said. "Of course we chased them. A warrior does not let enemies escape. We followed your ships deeper into the system. We moved fast to catch them before they could leave." Kethvar's 4 arms started moving as it talked. It was drawing shapes in the air to show the battle movements. Then your ships appeared from nowhere, from behind planets, from inside asteroid clouds, from places where no ships should be able to hide. They came from above us and below us, and from all sides at once. Susan looked up from her notes. "Our ships were hiding in the system before you arrived." "Impossible," the alien said quickly. "We scanned everything. Our sensors can detect a single metal bolt floating in space. There were no ships hiding anywhere." "But there were," Jake said. "Dozens of them." Kethvar stared at Jake with all 6 eyes. "Then your technology is beyond our understanding. Or your ships can become invisible. Or you can move through solid rock." Susan exchanged looks with Jake. Human stealth technology was good, but not that good. The ships had been there all along. The aliens just had not found them. "Tell me more." "About the battle," Susan said. "Your Admiral Collins used tricks that should not work. His ships would attack our formation, then disappear before we could shoot back. They would show up somewhere else and attack again. Our gunners could not target them." The alien started pacing back and forth in the small cell. Its movements were quick and nervous. "Captain Steve Williams commanded a group of your ships. Our sensors showed a massive fleet approaching from the outer system. 50 heavy cruisers at least. Admiral Dexmore sent half our fleet to stop them." Susan knew this part of the story. But they were not real ships. The ships looked real on our screens. They had the right heat signatures, the right energy readings. "Our computers said they were dangerous warships. We sent our best fighters to destroy them." Kethvar stopped pacing and looked directly at Susan. "Your Captain Williams had built an army of ghosts. Sensor drones and debris clouds arranged to look like a fleet. We wasted half our firepower shooting at shadows and metal scraps. While you were distracted, our real strike force attacked your supply ships." Jake said. The alien made a sound like screaming, but quieter. "Yes. While we fought phantoms, your real ships destroyed our fuel depot and supply convoy. Ships that should have been safe behind our battle lines." Susan wrote faster. The human strategy was becoming clear. Create false targets to draw enemy attention while hitting their weak points. "This is not how wars are fought," Kethvar continued. "You do not announce your attacks. You do not challenge us to honorable combat. You strike like thieves in the night." "Tell me about the other battles," Susan said. "Every battle was the same nightmare. Your people under Colonel Nick Peterson would send false signals on our communication channels. Orders that sounded like they came from our own commanders. Half our fleet would turn left, while the other half turned right." The alien sat down heavily. It looked tired and sad. "In the battle at Vega Station, your Major Kate Thompson somehow learned our military codes. She sent messages that split our formation in half. Ships that should have been working together started shooting at each other." Susan stopped writing. "How did we learn your codes? We still do not know. Those codes were created on our homeworld. No alien had ever heard them before, but your people used them perfectly, like you had been studying our language for years." Jake thought about the intelligence reports he had read. Human code breakers were good, but learning a completely alien language and military system in just a few weeks seemed impossible. "Your tactics got worse as the war continued," Kethvar said. "In one battle, your forces played recordings of our younglings crying, the sounds of our children calling for help. Half our warriors abandoned their positions to return home." Susan looked up sharply. "We played recordings of your children." "Yes. Somehow you had learned what our families sound like. You knew exactly which sounds would make our soldiers panic. This should not be possible. You had never been to our worlds before the war started." Alien stood up again and walked to the corner of the cell. It turned its back to the humans. Lieutenant Ben Carter led your intelligence division. His people learned things about us that we did not know about ourselves. They predicted what we would do before our own commanders made decisions. General Hudson spoke for the first time since entering the room. How is that possible? Kethvar turned around slowly. That is what we want to know. Your species learns faster than anyone we have ever met. You see patterns that are invisible to us. You adapt to new situations while we are still trying to understand what happened. The alien walked back to the wall and looked at all the humans in the room. We are warriors. We have fought for 1,000 years. We know every battle strategy that exists. But you fight in ways that do not exist. You make new ways of fighting. While the battle is happening, Susan put down her pen. You make it sound like we are not really fighting at all? You're not, Kethvar said. You are doing something much more dangerous. Colonel Dan Roberts entered the room with Dr. Maria Santos. She was a doctor who studied alien minds and behavior. Her job was to understand how different species think and feel. General Hudson had called her because Kethvar's words were getting more frightening. What does the alien mean when it says humans do something more dangerous than fighting? General Hudson asked Dr. Santos as Maria looked through the glass at Kethvar. The alien sat quietly, but its 6 eyes watched every movement the humans made. I think it means we fight in ways that attack their minds, not just their ships. Jake had been thinking about the alien's words all night. Kethvar, you said we do something worse than fighting. What do you mean? The alien stood up slowly. Fighting destroys bodies and ships. What you do destroys the mind itself. You make us question everything we believe. Dr. Santos turned on her recording equipment. Can you give us an example? Kethvar walked to the wall. The Battle of Rigel. 7. Your Colonel Nick Peterson was in command of your forces. We came with 300 ships ready for a glorious battle. The alien paused and made the sighing sound again. Before the battle even started, your ships began broadcasting on our military frequencies. But you were not sending battle orders or surrender demands. What were we sending? Maria asked. Funeral songs. The sacred music our people sing when warriors die in battle. Songs that only families of the dead are allowed to hear. Jake felt cold air run down his back. How did we know your funeral songs? That is what destroyed our will to fight. These songs are secret. They're passed down from parent to child in whispers. No outsider has ever heard them. Sang them perfectly, with all the right words and music. Maria wrote notes quickly. What effect did this have on your soldiers? Half our warriors began to weep. They thought their families were already dead. They believed the songs meant everyone they loved had been killed while they were away fighting. Kethvar pressed all 4 hands against the wall. Admiral Yexnow ordered our communications officers to block your signals. But you kept changing frequencies. Every time we blocked one signal, you started broadcasting on 10 different channels. Then what happened? Colonel Roberts asked. Your Colonel Peterson sent false orders using our own communication codes. Orders that sounded like they came from our high command on the homeworld. The orders said that Rigel 7 was a trap, and all ships should retreat immediately. The alien started pacing again. But these were not normal false orders. They were written in the exact style our commanders use. They included personal names and family references that only someone from our homeworld would know. Maria looked up from her notes. Personal names? Yes, the false orders mentioned the names of our officers' children, their favorite foods, their family traditions. Information that should not exist anywhere except in our private records. Jake exchanged glances with Dr. Santos. How could we know those things? We asked ourselves the same question. The only explanation was that you had somehow read our most secret files. Files that are kept on our homeworld millions of light years away. Kethvar stopped pacing and stared at Maria. Your species has abilities we cannot understand.
Oh.
You learn things that should be impossible to learn. Colonel Roberts leaned forward. Tell us about Major Kate Thompson's tactics. The alien's eyes grew wide with fear. The female commander who fights with poison words. She is the most dangerous of all your people. Poison words? Maria asked. In the Battle of Wolf 359, Major Thompson somehow learned about the divisions in our society. She knew which clans hated which other clans. She knew which officers had argued with their superiors. She knew family feuds that went back generations. The alien sat down heavily. During the battle, she sent private messages to individual ship commanders, messages that revealed embarrassing secrets about their rivals. She told Commander Thakwe that his second officer was planning to steal his position. She told Captain Zexmore that his clan leader thought he was a coward. Jake was beginning to understand.
How?
She turned you against each other.
Yes.
Within hours, our fleet was fighting itself instead of fighting you. Ship commanders refused to help each other. Some even fired on their own allies. Major Thompson destroyed our military discipline without firing a single shot. Dr. Santos put down her pen. How did she learn these secrets? That is what terrifies us. These were private, matters known only to the individuals involved. Family disputes and personal grudges that were never recorded anywhere. Yet your Major Thompson knew them all. Kethvar stood up and walked to the corner of the cell. The worst battle was at Proxima Station. Your Lieutenant Ben Carter was leading your intelligence operations. What happened there? Colonel Roberts asked. Your people had captured some of our communication equipment in earlier battles. Lieutenant Carter used this equipment to send messages that appeared to come from our own ships. The alien turned around to face the humans. But these were not military messages. They were personal communications from our warriors to their families back home. Maria felt a chill. What kind of personal communications? Messages saying that the warriors were wounded and dying, that they would never see their families again, that their children should forget about them and find new fathers. The alien's voice became very quiet. These messages were sent to the families on our homeworld. Millions of parents and children received word that their loved ones were dead or dying. Jake understood the horror immediately. Your families thought you were all killed in battle. Yes, panic spread across our homeworld. Families demanded that the government bring the warriors home immediately. Political leaders faced riots and protests. Our society began to collapse from within. Kethvar walked back to the wall. The worst part was what your Lieutenant Carter did next. He sent new messages to our ships, messages that appeared to come from our families. What did those messages say? Dr. Santos asked. They said that our families no longer wanted us to return, that we had brought shame to our houses by fighting humans, that we were no longer welcome on our homeworld. The alien pressed its face against the wall. Half our warriors killed themselves rather than live with such dishonor. The other half deserted and tried to flee to distant worlds where no one would know their shame. Colonel Roberts stood up suddenly. It is psychological warfare on a level we have never seen before. Your species does not just fight our bodies, Kethvar said. You fight our hearts and minds and souls. You take everything we love and use it as a weapon against us. Maria looked at her notes. But how did our people learn so much about your society so quickly? The alien turned all 6 eyes toward her. That is the question that haunts every survivor of your war. We have been studying this mystery for months since the fighting ended. What conclusion did you reach? Jake asked. Your species has a gift that we cannot comprehend. You see patterns in behavior that are invisible to us. You understand how? Minds work better than the minds understand themselves. Kethvar sat down and looked at all the humans in the room. In every battle, your commanders predicted exactly what we would do. They knew which of our officers would break under pressure. They knew which of our traditions could be turned into weapons. They knew our weaknesses before we knew them ourselves. Dr. Santos put away her recording equipment. It sounds like our people are very good at reading social and psychological patterns. Good? The alien said. Your people are terrifying. You can look at a society you have never seen before and know exactly how to destroy it from the inside. The alien stood up. One more time. That is why what is coming will be different. The others have learned from our mistakes. They know they cannot fight you the way we tried to fight you. General Hudson stepped closer to the wall. What others? What is coming? But Kethvar turned away and would not answer any more questions. Dr. Helen Ross arrived the next morning. She was the top expert on alien politics and galactic affairs. General Hudson had called her because Kethvar's warnings about others coming had everyone worried. The alien had been silent for 2 days. Since mentioning this new threat, Jake stood outside the cell with Dr. Ross. It has not said a word since it mentioned the others. We need to know what is coming. Helen looked at the alien through the glass. Kethvar sat in the middle of the cell with its eyes closed, but she could tell it was listening to every word they said. Kethvar, Helen called out. We need to talk about the threat you mentioned. Lives depend on this information. The alien opened its 6 eyes and looked at her. You want to know about the coalition? About the force that is gathering to destroy your species? Helen felt her heart beat faster. Coalition. 12 species have united against humanity. They call themselves the Galactic Defense Coalition. They believe your people are too dangerous to be allowed to exist. Jake stepped closer to the wall. Why are you telling us this? Kethvar stood up slowly. Because I have learned something about humans during my time here. You are not demons. You are not evil. We're just very different from the rest of us. The alien walked to the wall and looked directly at Helen. The coalition thinks they understand human warfare now. They've studied every battle of our war. They believe they know how to defeat you. What do they plan to do? Helen asked. They are building the largest military force in galactic history. 10,000 ships from 12 different worlds. Weapons designed specifically to counter every human tactic we observed. Helen wrote notes quickly. What kind of weapons? Ships that cannot be fooled by sensor ghosts. Communication systems that cannot be hacked. Soldiers trained to ignore psychological warfare. They have prepared for everything you did to us. Jake felt a cold fear growing in his stomach. Long do we have? The fleet is already moving toward human space. It will arrive in 6 months, maybe less. Helen looked up from her notes. Where are they coming from? The Andromeda approach. The border between your galaxy and the next. They have been gathering there for months, planning your destruction. Kethvar pressed one hand against the wall. The coalition leaders are not like my people. Zephyrians were proud, but honorable. These others are driven by fear. They have decided that humans cannot be allowed to surrender. What do you mean? Jake asked. They will not accept your defeat. They will not take prisoners. They will not allow your people to exist anywhere in the galaxy. They plan to destroy every human world and kill every human they find. Helen felt sick. Why? Because they believe your way of thinking is a disease that will spread to other species. They think that if humans are allowed to live, you will teach other races to fight the way you fight. The alien sat down and looked at the floor. Admiral Kexthorn of the Hegemony leads the coalition fleet. He has studied human tactics for months. He believes he has found your weakness. What weakness? Helen asked. Humans adapt quickly to new situations. But the Admiral thinks this adaptation requires time. He plans to attack all human worlds at once, giving you no time to adjust your strategies. Jake thought about this. A coordinated strike across all of human space. Yes, while you are fighting to save one world, 10 others will be under attack. The Admiral believes you cannot adapt fast enough to handle so many battles at the same time. Helen looked at her notes. What else? The Coalition has built new types of weapons. Planet-killing devices that can destroy a world in minutes. They do not plan to fight ship-to-ship battles where you can use your tricks. Kethvar stood up again. Admiral Kexthorn has said that humans are too clever to be fought fairly. So he will not fight fair. He will simply destroy your worlds from a distance and move on. The alien walked to the other side of the cell. The Coalition believes this will work because humans have never faced this type of attack before. You have no experience defending against planet killers. Jake called General Hudson on his radio. Sir, you need to hear this. The alien is giving us details about an incoming attack. General Hudson's voice crackled through the speaker. I am on my way down. Keep it talking. Helen turned back to Kethvar. Why are you warning us? That your people were our enemies. The alien looked at her with all 6 eyes, because I had watched humans for 3 months. I have seen how you treat prisoners, how you care for the wounded, how you try to understand rather than simply destroy. That does not answer my question. Coalition plans to kill everyone on Zephyrian worlds too. They believe we are contaminated by contact with humans. They think we might have learned human tactics during the war. Helen understood now. You are helping us because they plan to kill your people too. Yes, Admiral Kexthorn has decided that any species that has fought humans must be destroyed. We are marked for death, along with you. General Hudson entered the room with President William Hayes and Admiral Claire Davis. The top leaders of human government had come to hear the aliens' warning personally. Kethvar, President Hayes said, "How many ships does this coalition have?" 10. 1,000 warships? 2,000 planet killers? 500 support vessels? It is the largest fleet ever assembled. Admiral Davis stepped forward. What are their species like? What are their strengths and weaknesses? The hegemony provides the leadership. They're cold and logical, but they do not adapt quickly. The syndicate provides the planet killers. They are builders and engineers, but poor fighters. The others provide ships and soldiers. The alien paused and looked at all the human leaders. But they have one advantage you do not expect. They have studied human tactics so carefully that they think like humans now. President Hayes felt his blood turn cold. What do you mean? Admiral Kexthorn has spent months learning to predict human behavior. He has practiced thinking the way humans think. He believes he can outthink your commanders. General Hudson stepped closer to the wall. Has he succeeded? I do not know. But he is very confident. He has told the coalition that humans will fall within days of the first attack. Admiral Davis looked at her notes. What is their timeline? 6 months to prepare your defenses. Maybe less if they decide to attack early. The Admiral wants to catch you before you can adapt to the threat. President Hayes turned to his advisors. We need to start preparations immediately. This is beyond anything we have faced before. Kethvar walked to the wall one more time. There is something else you should know about Admiral Kexthorn. What? Jake asked. Yes. He has made the same mistake every enemy of humans has made. No. He thinks. He understands you because he has studied your past battles. But humans do not repeat the same tactics twice. The alien looked directly at President Hayes. The Admiral has prepared to fight the humans who defeated the Zephyrians. He does not realize that you have already become something new. General Hudson smiled for the first time in days. What do you mean? Your species does not just adapt to new enemies. You evolve into new forms of warfare faster than anyone can follow. The Admiral is preparing to fight yesterday's humans. Kethvar pressed all 4 hands against the wall. By the time his fleet arrives, you will have become something he cannot imagine. Something that has never existed before. The alien looked at each human in the room. That is why I have hope that both our species might survive this war, because humans never fight the same way twice. President Hayes nodded slowly. Then we had better start becoming something new. Commander Carl Brooks entered the room with a stack of battle plans. Sir, we have been working on new defensive strategies, things the galaxy has never seen before. Kethvar heard this and made a sound like laughing. Yes. That is exactly what will save us all. The coalition has no idea what is coming for them. The alien sat down one last time. Admiral Kexthorn believes he is bringing death to humanity. Instead, he is about to discover what humans become when you truly threaten everything they love. President Hayes looked at his advisors. We have work to do. Let us show this coalition what humans are really capable of. As the leaders left the room, Kethvar called out one last warning. Remember, they plan to kill prisoners. There will be no mercy from them. Jake stopped at the door. Then they have made their biggest mistake. They do not understand that humans fight hardest when there is no way out. The alien nodded all 6 eyes. That is what I am counting on.